Hi, everybody. My name's Brian. I work at a company called SmartLogic. We do custom web and mobile application developments for everyone from startups all the way to enterprise. So my talk today is about this personality thing that I heard about a couple months ago. It was a circumstance where I was listening to somebody talk about it, and it sounded dumb. And then as they kept describing things and applying it, I was like, oh, yeah, I can see. Like, I see why. I've met people who act that way before. So I don't think it makes the world very black and white, which I think there's much more shades of gray in reality, but I think it's a helpful construct to maybe help understand people. And my motivation to present this is we talk to tons of different types of people. So how can we sort of classify people to help us better talk to them and communicate ideas? So according to this, there are 4 types of personalities. There are controllers, supporters, promoters, and analyzers. So I'll talk about each one of those and some characteristics of them. So there are controllers. They want to plan. Structure is very important. Authority is very important. A controller might say, if they're going to go to lunch, they're going to say, I'm going to Chipotle. If you'd like to go to Chipotle, you may come with me to Chipotle. If you say, well, what about Sbarro's? No. You can go separately to Sbarro's. So they're going to pick a plan, they're going to go for it. So here I've shown a business person, and I've shown a blueprint. Controllers. Supporters. I was very excited to find the emotions and feelings image. They want everybody to feel good. They're concerned about the emotional well-being of people. If you propose a plan that hurts someone else on the team without consulting them, like even if it's the right decision, they'll likely not want to do that. So they're very concerned about how people in general feel, and that everybody is supported because they're supporters. Next, you have promoters. Promoters are very focused on energy. They want things to be exciting. They don't want things to be boring or lame. They want to feel like they are a part of something that's moving quickly and exciting, and they are potentially prone to boredom if things don't seem like they're awesome or not very exciting. And then we have analyzers. Analyzers like to analyze things. They are very concerned about stats and figures and the properties of things. They don't want to make bad decisions, so sometimes that means they will perhaps take longer than necessary to make decisions, but that decision will be very well reasoned and based in some form of science. So here I have shown a matrix and the matrix. That's pretty good. So what are we? How can we put everybody in the room into a bucket? Does anybody have any guesses as to what I think everybody here is, except for one person?
Did you bucket all of us?
I've bucketed all of us and then one person separately. Any guesses?
We're all one type except for one person.
I think so. I would say that everybody's an analyzer for the most part, and then I think there's one person that's a promoter primarily. I don't need to name names. Under threat of being bombed and lit on fire. I would say in general that almost everybody's predominant classification or trait is that of an analyzer, because we are mostly developers, and if things don't work well, and our structure is core to us being successful. So I think we'd all be pretty shitty developers if we're like, structure, let's throw stuff at the wall and see what happens. Does anybody disagree with that?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you one type, or is it the case that you are 80% X?
Sure, I think it's
30%?
Yeah, I think it's definitely you can be a blend, and I think people are different in different scenarios too. So like when you're going out and hanging out with your friends, you might be one type of person. You might be like, oh, cool, go with the flow. What does everybody want to do? Versus when you're at your job, you might be like, all right, we need to get this shit done. You might be more of a controller versus a supporter with your group. So I think it's situational, and I mean, nobody's like 100% one thing. I mean, we're all snowflakes, right, guys? We're all special. Okay, smart guy. How we talk to other people. This is a great question, and I really appreciate everybody for asking it. This assumes that we are analyzers speaking to the other groups. So I'll kind of run through that, how this may impact us. So talking to a controller, it is very important for us to have a plan when we speak to them and speak with authority. I think oftentimes we're in a position where we know all the different options and we know the pros and cons of each and the potential pitfalls. So when you present that to a controller, like, okay, well, we have 3 choices. We can do these things. Here are the pros and cons. Here's the pros and cons. Here's the pros and cons. They might say, okay, well, all right, what do we do? Like, give me a plan. Let me know what do you think we should do? And we say, like, well, if we do this way, it might be more expensive. But so I think with a controller, it's important to pick a plan, have some confidence. We can certainly use all that background information to supply that and say, here's what I think. And I think with controllers, it's also very important to elicit feedback from them because they probably already have a plan and they already have some idea of what they want to do. Say like, make sure that we capture that because if they feel like you are creating a plan that doesn't apply to them, they're not going to be super interested in that. So I was trying to think of some people we work with that might kind of think are controllers. I think Steve from MedIQ is kind of a controller, plan dude. Christina from CERM, Colin from Spot Crime, kind of like plan type person. I'm sure we can think of others. Maybe Andrew from NewsUp. Maybe not as much. You don't think so? Cool. We'll come back around to that. Or not. I don't know. Maybe not. Let me get back to you. Okay, supporters. So again, supporters. The pitfall or the potential pitfall is making it not seem like you are considering, like if our decision is too data driven and not considering the end user or the people on the team, or like, okay, this is great, but our support team's going to have to do a ton of extra work because of this, or whatever. It's going to be, we're sacrificing the experience for this type of end user. Like, what are we going to do for them? So it's making it clear that we've considered all of the stakeholders and how this will impact them. And it's always going to be a trade-off. So just making it clear to them that we've considered that and involving them. And then could even be as far as like, well, we've talked to this person from this team. I always think of Order Up because there were a ton of different people, and some people were very sensitive to like, well, what is this department going to think? So it's like, well, I went and talked to them, and they agreed that it sucks what we're doing, but they understand that it sucks, and they understand why we're doing it. So oftentimes, that's all we really need to do to say, like, we think this is the best path forward. So I feel like Pete from IBR is kind of like a supporter type guy. I feel like Saeed from MinMax, which I think only Carlos has spoken to him. Alex from UTC, if anybody's worked with Alex, is very concerned that the team and like he has a lot of stakeholders to worry about. So Hafez from IBR, I think those are kind of like supporter type people. Talking to promoters, I think the primary pitfall we're going to fall into when talking to a promoter is they're going to think that we are being boring, and that like. It's like, I think we often do a very good job of not like selling the technology, but selling the result. I think it's extra important with promoters. So like, and it's almost maybe even a step further. I don't know if we have anybody that's this far along, but it's almost like, well, what is the benefit to me personally? Like, how is my life going to change because of what we're doing? So it's not like we are spending money to upgrade the database, and it's not we're improving the speed to your end user. It's you're going to make more money because you can support more customers, or kind of like something to help them visualize how they are moving, and then something exciting about it. So we definitely don't want to give the very technical definition, but like, oh, we're using this new cool technology, and you are going to be so cool if you use this technology. We're using Node and Mongo, and you are going to be, oh, holy shit, you're going to be so cool. Everybody's going to be talking about how cool you are, and it's going to be sick. So promoters, I think like maybe like John from StarSpot. I think he's kind of like a promoter guy. Bobby from Capelli's. I don't know if too many people talk to him. I feel like Sean from Core Life, and almost nobody's talked to him. I think this is maybe the type of person I had the most trouble trying to, like, who we talk to that's like that. Because this person's usually going to be not like typically in a product owner role. They're like a salesperson, or they might be the CEO, but in that circumstance, we're not the person. Like Chris Jeffrey from Odor is a promoter. You can sell the shit out of anything. And lives an awesome life. Kanye West is a promoter. Okay, and then so other analyzers, I think we'll probably have the easiest time talking to these sorts of people because we are them, in my estimation. But again, just like the things that we would be concerned about, like, you know, if we pitch a half thought out process, or if we're kind of winging something that we really didn't think through, they'll be like, well, or what are in the same way that a controller doesn't want to hear all of the show your work type stuff, an analyzer like, okay, well, what are the other options that you considered? Like, what are the other choices? Show me the matrix, show me a matrix, and show me the matrix, and let me know what decision making went into getting here and why you decided this was the best decision. And I may also want to run through that same thing so I can decide if this is actually the same thing. So I feel like any other, more than likely any other developer-led project that we've worked with, that person has been an analyzer, and they don't want to have the mechanics of what we're doing hidden from what they're seeing.